This is the first attempt at a live photo critique. We're going to be discussing members of the Learn to License Your Photos course and their actual photographs. So I asked the community to submit a handful of photos to me to look at and just kind of digest the way I look at them through a marketing mindset and through the licensing mindset. So we're going to jump right in without further ado, and I'm going to share my screen and pull up the first few images here. These photos come to us from Matthew Anderson out of Kansas City. The client was a home stager for these. He says it was some higher end new construction, and he took wider shots of the areas of the house for the client and then took some extra shots highlighting details of the kitchen. So he submitted 2 photos and we're going to go through them now. All right, first image here. This is a little bit wide, as he mentioned, and I think that with some cropping, we can make it a little bit better for licensing. And I'll jump over into Photoshop in just a few minutes and discuss that. But the first thing that jumps out at me are the appliances. Now, a little detail here that a lot of people might miss, this band here on the handle, that stands out to me because on a shoot about a year ago, I actually was shooting a kitchen and noticed these little bands on a handle just like that and made a comment to the designer I was shooting for about how cool they looked and just, what a nice simple touch they were. And she told me that that was actually a new thing on the GE Cafe line of appliances. So I took a mental note, wrote down GE Cafe, and then I was actually able to license photos to GE. So the fact that these appliances look so great, the fact that you can see that little band, knowing that's kind of like a new addition and part of the branding on GE Cafe appliances, that tells me that this shot would be great for them. The other thing that jumps out at me are these cabinets. The cabinets look really nice. You can see great color and texture. Even the cabinet hardware, these long, kind of gold or brass pulls, if you could find out who made those. And then the other thing is the backsplash. So this looks like natural stone. So there might be, a local stone quarry or slab dealer that would be interested in those photos. I've never had success personally with those kind of vendors because I don't know, I haven't. I can go on about that, but it's kind of besides the point. But the backsplash looks nice. That is a potential. But what I really want to talk about are the appliances. Now, I think this composition is nice. However, let's pull it into Photoshop and see what we can do. If we crop in on this a little bit, let's see how your eye is drawn to those appliances a little bit more. Now, I don't want to crop from the bottom because you can see the foot of the appliance there, which is kind of an important detail, and it's nice that that's included. But if we crop in from the left side going in, let's go down somewhere about right here. Click enter. Now, see what a difference that is? Your eye is immediately drawn more to the center of the frame here. And if we go back and forth, with it being so open like this and with there being such a big, bright hot spot on the left side of the frame with the windows over here, your eye isn't drawn to the appliances quite as much. But again, you crop in and now your eye is drawn right to the center of the frame, that beautiful appliance. There are some reflections over here that you could paint out, or you might want to paint out before you send it to the appliance maker, or maybe you want to do that after the fact. And just kind of going on a little bit more about distraction removal, because there are a couple of big bright white spots right in the middle of the backsplash, I would just clone those out really quickly if this was my shot, just because your eye is your eye is drawn to any of those white spaces. So if you take those out, there we go. If you take out those white spots, your eye is not drawn to them. For some reason, my history doesn't seem to be working well. Anyways, moving on. This is a great shot, though. I think there's definitely potential here. The next shot from Matthew Anderson, same kitchen, different composition. I love the 1-point composition. This is a great shot to include with the other one if you're sending to the appliance maker. Again, you can see that cool little band, that detail here on the appliance. Over here, you don't get that band, but you can still see the whole top of the range, which is really nice. Again, these cabinets and the pulls look really good. Anything I would change about this one? No, this looks pretty good. Again, maybe these couple of really bright white spots over here you want to get rid of in distraction removal. Maybe you want to even out, some of these reflections a little bit just by painting in, but this is a pretty solid one. If the cabinet maker that made these cabinets also supplied the cabinets down here, or the coverings of the island, the fact that it's two different kind of textures and colors, the fact that we've got these vertical lines here, the horizontal lines here, those kind of details, and the fact that you're showing one color next to another color, for a cabinet maker, I think that would be a big plus, because they would want to show off multiple products in one location. And now, actually, now that my screen thing moved underneath here, let's get out of there. We'll jump over to Photoshop. Again, distraction removal, and just paying attention to those details. Look at this little scuff here. Again, with this little tool you can get by clicking J. What is this called? I don't know, the J tool, I call it. You can just scrub out some of those scratches really quickly. And now your chair looks a little bit cleaner. But yeah, great shot here. I love the lighting. For marketing purposes, I can totally see either the cabinet company or the appliance company wanting this one. Now, we might be talking about the lighting company as well in here. These lights look pretty cool, but you don't see the whole lights. So I don't think I would try to send those to the lighting company. Again, same lights over here. You don't see the whole lights. If you had been backed up a little bit in this space and you could see the entire light fixture here, then that would probably be a good one to send to the light company. I do like that everything is in focus. So if you were selling to the cabinet maker, these front cabinets are in focus and the back cabinets are in focus. So you probably shot at a higher f-stop for that, which is great. And there we go. Cool. So Matthew Anderson, thanks for sending those in. Hope that was helpful. Next up, we're going to go to Kelly Horkhoff. So we're going to pull her photos over into the program and check out her stuff. Let's see what notes we have on Kelly's set of photos. She lives near Toronto, Canada. And she said the client was an interior designer that was, let's see, she cost shared with the cabinet company on this first image. And then the second image we're going to look at, the client was a builder that she licensed to the cabinet company after the fact. So looking at this first shot, again, for an interior designer, she did cost share with the cabinet company. I can see why. The cabinets seem like the star of the show, along with these chairs. Now, personally, I've not had a ton of success licensing to furniture companies. However, if I knew who made these chairs, if it was, kind of a boutique place, maybe a local place, as opposed to, your big crate and barrels or anything like that, I could see potentially sending the images out to that company, because again, the blue really pops off of the white in this image, and the chairs kind of, help bring this image to life for sure. What else do I see? I see these lights. If you knew who made these lights, you might want to send it to them, because they're kind of unique lights. Maybe turning them on could have helped you sell them to the lighting company after the fact. But again, maybe not. So if there's lights like this that are kind of unique, I would maybe take a shot with them on and with them off, just so you have the options. That way, if you did reach out to the lighting company, you have a couple of different things to show them. But with that said, you do have these can lights back here that are kind of in the same plane, so to speak, your same line of sight with the lights up here. So I would remove those can lights, because they're just not doing anything for the photo. And again, for me, anything that can distract you from what you're trying to show people, which are these lights in that instance, I would just take those out. Let's see. Again, the backsplash is really nice in here. So if you knew who supplied the backsplash, maybe that would be an option. If you're doing that, again, I would do some more distraction removal and take out these outlets and these switches over here, just so that the veining is not broken up so much and you don't have those little ugly boxes. The faucet's pretty nice too. The faucet being black and being the fact that there's the soap pump, the small water faucet, and the big sink faucet, they all pop off of the white background. So if you knew who made those, and if they were all the same vendor, I could see sending this shot to them. Even though it's really far in the back, it does help show an entire scene. And if you had another shot of this space that was a little bit closer up on those, then maybe you can send them both shots, which would be really cool for them to see. But even as a single image, this is such a strong image that I could see a faucet company wanting to license this one. All right, next shot from Kelly is, again, the client was a builder and she licensed it to the cabinet company after the fact. Nice job on that, Kelly. And she's considering reaching out to the stove company in the UK. Again, if you had another shot that showed the stove a little more front and center, not blocked off by this chair, and you can show them more than one image, I think you would have a little bit easier sell to them. I don't think it's not worth sending. I think it could be worth sending still to the stove maker in the UK. I think it would be a tough sell for them, being that the chair is blocking most of the stove. It's off to the side, but you never know. There's definitely companies that use images like this on social media quite a bit, even if they're not front and center and seeing the entire image. I'm curious on this one, what it would look like if we cropped in a little bit as well. So I'm going to bring it into Photoshop and just kind of play around with it a little bit. Um, and while you're on site in this kind of a space, if you're thinking with the licensing mindset already, and you're looking at some stove like this that is clearly, part of the star of the show in this case, being that it's red and it pops out so much and it's a very unique design, consider taking your shot like this for the client, and then maybe moving that chair and taking the exact same shot. Take that extra 30 seconds to move the chair, get another shot that you can potentially license. Now, when talking about licensing, nothing on this right side of the frame does anything for us. The client was a builder, so I get that you want to show, where the microwave and the oven is. I get that you want to show these nice cabinet details, but for licensing, that's probably not going to help us. Same thing with all the space down here, with the table and the chairs. So if we bring this in a bit, let's see what that does for us. And we keep the same aspect ratio. Now my attention is much more brought to the stove, even though it is off to the side of the frame, but I'm also noticing these lights a lot more. I love that the lights are framed really nicely in the brick back here. Again, this might be one where you want to shoot with the lights on and off, because these are unique lights. Maybe they're going to give off, an interesting glow. Again, maybe personal preference, but I always like to get rid of these can lights. To me, they're not adding any beauty to the image. If you were to crop in like this, maybe I would scrub out or, clone out this bottom part of the chair here. And with it zoomed in like this, I could also see potentially licensing to the faucet company. So I think there's a lot of potential here. Again, she said she already licensed to the cabinet maker, which is great. But I think there's more potential here to be had for sure. So really great photo, Kelly. Thanks for sending that in. Next up is a couple of photos from Matthew. How do you say the last name? Delarue, maybe? Matthew Delarue. Let's see my notes on Matthew's shots. We're going to pull them in here. Matthew is from Quebec, Canada, where it's probably very cold right now. The client for these is an architect that was a friend. And he says that it was his first architectural shoot as opposed to real estate. And the model was actually his daughter. So let's break these photos down in terms of the licensing mindset. This first shot, the first thing that jumps out at me right away is the fireplace and this marble. So again, I don't have a lot of real specific tips on licensing to marble makers or marble suppliers. Part of the reason why it might be a tough sell to them is because marble companies don't actually make the product, they supply the product, right? Because it's a natural product. They are not actually manufacturing these slabs here. So for that reason, it could be from anywhere. So if supplier ABC company in your town supplied this to the builder, who's to say that XYZ company from the next town over didn't supply it? So that it might be a tough sell. However, I will say that I have actually licensed photos to a natural stone vendor before, but it wasn't even their product. So, if you found a company that just needed photos of natural stones, like I did that one time, or several times actually, they might be interested in this shot. If you knew the fireplace company, this might be a good one to license to them. However, you might want to do a little different post-production treatment in that you can kind of make this darker. You can see the reflection of the chair real easily here. The fire's not on. So maybe you'd want to paint in a fire in there. Maybe you want to darken this up so the reflection's not so harsh. If there was a logo here, I don't know if there was, but if there was a logo, that would be a really strong one to try to sell to the fireplace company. And in which case you could probably crop in a little bit on that as well. And while I'm talking about it, I'll just jump over to Photoshop here and crop in a little bit and see what that looks like. Yeah, so I think, if you were sending to the companies over here, that would be a smart move. Um, so you could think about that. Next up, let's continue on with Matthew's photos. Another one here. So this one, we've got the model, which is his daughter. I'm going to bring these into Photoshop as well while I talk about them. All right, so this one, this big counter, it's literally taking up a fourth of the frame, and it's kind of out of focus. It's getting pretty distorted. So I'm not sure what we could do about that aside from cropping it. However, now that I'm looking at this shot, the floor seems to be pretty standout. Again, I don't know if this was from a local floor vendor, maybe a national company, who knows? But the floor is pretty unique. You can see a lot of the texture and the variation. And I know from working with a tile manufacturer, when there is intentional texture and variation within products, they love to show that off. So this is a really good one to try to do that with. I would say, let's think about cropping this in a vertical format, though, and getting rid of some of that distortion at the bottom. Now you can see how much of the frame is kind of quote unquote wasted in this instance. So maybe you couldn't give them a super high res copy of this, but look at this in terms of the flooring. I mean, this is a flooring shot if I've ever seen one. And it's actually not a bad shot for the appliances back here, which I can see the logo on. At this point, they get a little bit lost, but I'm sure if you have the full res, these logos would really stand out. So if you wanted to send to the appliance company, that would be a good one. Now that I'm zoomed in, I can see a little bit of, kind of dirtiness. So if you're sending to the appliance company, I would recommend cleaning that up a little bit, just so that the area right around the appliances isn't dirty or distracting. And with that said, knowing that that's a flooring shot now we've got a series that we can send to the flooring maker. So again, if we can find out who made this flooring or who supplied the flooring, now we've got a set that we can send them. This one on its own, I would not send to the flooring company. But now that I'm seeing that we kind of have a set here of flooring options, then now it's worth sending as a set for sure. Kind of the exact same comments here. Again, cropping in on this one I think would help a lot. On the right side of the frame, there's not a ton going on that's really helping us. There's a lot of dead space in the ceiling. Some of the floor gets a little distorted as we get down to the bottom. But watch when we crop in how much better this looks in terms of a flooring photo. The faucet is okay, but it gets a little bit lost over there. I might come in even a little bit more if I'm sending this to the flooring company, something like that. Again, I like to remove these distractions on the ceiling. If I'm trying to get the viewer to really pay attention to the floor down here, I don't want little specks of black or little shapes up in my big white ceiling that's going to potentially distract from the image down here. Cool. Thank you, Matthew, for sending those in. We're going to move along and go to our final submitter, our final course member that submitted photos, and these are from Ryan Baldridge. So Ryan did not follow directions and sent more than 2 photos. Whoops. So right off the bat, I will give some constructive criticism to Ryan and everybody else listening. When sending images to people that get a lot of stuff in their inbox, part of what we teach in the course is that you want to make their life easy. So by following instructions of when I asked to only get a couple photos and at a certain resolution and stuff, that automatically tells me, do you follow directions and are you easy to work with? So keep that in mind when you're sending to vendors. Again, the templates that we provide and the instructions that we give students of the course in terms of how to send photos to potential vendors to license to, these people get bombarded with stuff all the time. They constantly have things in their inbox that they need to scan through very quickly. So they want to know right off the bat that you are easy to work with, that you're going to make their life easier. So let's get on board with sending things and follow instructions to make the end user's life easier. Now let's go over Ryan's notes. He lives near Austin, Texas, in San Marcos. The client for these was a real estate agent, and he's already in talks on some of these with the builder to license to. So let's go through these images. So real estate shot, this looks like new construction that is not lived in. Right off the bat, I see a big mistake here. Take the couple minutes to remove that plastic. Take a couple minutes, there's plastic around here, pull that off. The homeowners, I promise, will not be offended that that you removed it and they didn't get the satisfaction of removing this plastic. It's going to make for a much better shot. And this looks like a KitchenAid logo. If you were to try to license to KitchenAid on this, obviously you would have no potential chance because you have plastic on here. So for this shot, the only thing you have the option to do is crop in, because all of this information with the plastic on it is completely wasted. But you can zoom in and you've got some cabinets that look really nice. Unfortunately, these cabinets will be cropped out of the shot, but we've got some nice cabinets down here, nice cabinets up top, and a little bit of decorative tile as well. The faucet is prominent. If you knew who made that, worth reaching out to for sure. The lighting looks nice. You know, if that's a boutique company that's not one of the big boys, you might have some luck there. But yeah, this decorative tile looks really good. I would look into that and see who made that tile. For this one, real quick, I want to jump over, since we talked about cropping, and see what could be done in terms of getting rid of, you know, the appliances over there. Whoops. So if we crop in, yeah, for this one, we're probably gonna have to do either like a square or vertical. I'm kind of a stickler for sticking to the original aspect ratio that the camera spits out, like a 2:3. But if you wanted to change it up on this one because you needed to get creative, you certainly could do that. I don't think anybody's gonna be offended by a shot like this, you know. All right, moving along to the next shot we have here. Cool, same kitchen. Again, this decorative tile looks really nice. For a shot like this, these lights being on, that bright orange color doesn't do much for me. Personally, I would have shot this one with those lights off. That's a little distracting to me. Again, this is a good one for the cabinet company. And now, more than in the other shot, I didn't realize it in the other shot, but you actually do have nice pulls here. So, you know, if that was a company like Top Knobs or another hardware company that you could track down, you could go to them with this shot. And even the pulls down here, which is cool because you have the contrast of the white and the gold, and then the dark and the gold. So again, anytime a product company can show their product in multiple ways in one images, that really helps them out with their marketing. So again, you have dark here and light here with the exact same product. And this allows the customer, the end user, looking at these images, to understand what that product can look like on different surfaces without having to look at multiple shots. Again, when thinking about the tile, definitely consider cloning out these outlets and switches on the back wall. That's a pretty easy fix in this situation. The fact that the faucet looks like it's nice and in focus, the handle is straight up and down, leads me to believe that, you know, the faucet company might be interested in this one as well. A couple more shots from Ryan. We might not get to all of them today, but let's look at this one. This is another one that looks like it could be cropped, actually. So let's pull that one into Photoshop and see what we have with a little bit of cropping. These white cabinets on the right side aren't doing anything for us. This big open space on the left isn't doing anything for us. So now we've got an island. Let's see, maybe coming even more. I'm not gonna nitpick on this one, but a tighter crop on this one does give you a much better view of these cabinets and the faucet. And also the lights, actually. These are really nice lights. They're on. So, you know, with a light that's so unique like this, being able to see how it looks when it's on, kind of that dark, I don't know, almost chrome-like exterior on the light, and then seeing the light come through that fixture is really powerful for a lighting company to show off. So you can consider contacting the lighting company. Again, when doing that, clone out these little distractions on the top because it's kind of like right in the same line as the fixture there. If you're going after the cabinet company, for sure, get rid of this little outlet. That's not doing anything for you. And the faucet company, actually, now I'm seeing that there's actually a pot filler here. If the company that made the faucet and the sink made the pot filler, having two products in their shot would be really beneficial to them. So this is a pretty solid image that I think has a lot of potential for licensing. Let's see if we have time for one or two more. Let's see, same kitchen it looks like. That faucet looks great. Pot filler looks really nice in here. The cabinets are a little bit smaller, but the range looks really good. And when we zoom out here, we can see that the appliance brand is Decor, which I'm assuming is the same as the range. Yep, you can see the logo here. So these are potential shots that you can send to Decor. And now zooming back to this one, again, if you cropped it like I showed you, I would definitely send this one in a set to Decor, knowing that they have two appliances over here that are partially visible. Another different kitchen. Let's quickly talk about this one before we wrap up. I like this shot, but it does have a few issues. One, a props kit would really help you out with this. If you had, a cutting board and, a little bowl of fruit and maybe a small plant. I mean, three things out of a really basic props kit could really liven this shot up. Right now, it looks super bare and empty. You've got these cabinets up here with the lights on that have no dishes in them. So I would cut those lights off. And yeah, a couple of things in here would really go a long way. Again, distraction removal, get rid of these things up on the ceiling. Definitely clean up all these scuffs and smudges on the fridge. If the fridge, the stove, and the ovens over here are the same company, which, there's logos I can see. If you have the high res, you can zoom in and check out those logos. If those are the same companies, this would be a really great shot, but it looks so empty. So again, bring that props kit to your shoots, take out a few of those little items and just place them around for a shot like this. Again, you've got the two faucets here, one for the filtered water, one for the regular faucet water, and a pot filler. So this could be a great shot for a faucet company, but unfortunately, it just looks really bare and empty and lifeless. Same kitchen, exact same comments here. This one could be a good shot of the fridge. Again, really clean up all these smudges and stuff. Those are easy fixes in Photoshop. Cabinet company could like this one. The pulls, the hardware on the cabinets, a lot of great potential if it just had a little bit more life in it. And we're going to stop there. We're not going to talk about this bathroom one. We're running out of time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you, everybody who watched this live. If you're not watching it live, you're watching it later. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys got some valuable information out of seeing how I digest photos with my licensing mindset and the kind of things I look for in images, both on site when shooting, while editing, and also after the fact in post-production, and kind of thinking about how you can potentially reach out to different vendors. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit me up with any questions you have after this, and I hope you enjoy the course. Thanks a lot. Catch you next time.